And here it is. Look how nice and, ooh, look at that sauce. So I have here, I have a small onion and I have some garlic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just chop this up. And I have the bowl to my slow cooker here, and I'm going to chop it up and put it in the bottom of the slow cooker with just a little bit of olive oil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice them like this. And then I'm going to slice each slice in half. Now I use a small onion because you don't want it to be too much oniony flavor in your brisket. You want to actually be able to taste the meat. So these smaller pieces I'll just leave like that. Now as I said, I'm just going to put these in the bottom of my pot. Now I'm just going to take these pieces of garlic and smash them. I used to be stronger. I need to go back to the gym. So this big one over here, I'm just going to cut it into a few big pieces. I'm not chopping it. And you know when you take the back of your knife, the knife handle, and you smash your garlic, it makes it easier for the skin to peel off. Okay, so I'm just going to take these and I'm going to put them in the pot with the onions. Now I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and pour it on top of the onions and the garlic. Olive oil. Now in this bowl I have a 3.5 pound brisket. And I'm going to start seasoning that. Since I already have garlic there, I'm just going to put a little bit of garlic powder. I always use my Lori seasoning salt for most of my dishes. So I'm putting about 3/4 tablespoon of that. I'm going to put about 1/3 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/3. I'm going to use a little bit of this smoke. Now this is very spicy, this South African smoked seasoning from Trader Joe's. So I'm just going to use a little pinch. It has a good smell and a good flavor, but it gets very spicy. So you see I just did a little pinch of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Now that cuts some of the acidity that could be on the meat, or it cuts a little salt. Even though you need the salt taste, it just cuts it so it won't be too salty. It gives it a nice mellow taste. And you can use, this is regular beef brisket. This is not corned beef brisket. But you could use the cinnamon and the brown sugar on your corned beef biscuit too. And now I'm going to put the cinnamon. I'm going to just shake a little cinnamon, not too much. I would say I shook about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon. Last but not least, we're going to do some Worcestershire sauce. I'm using Heinz right now. I generally use Lee & Perrins, which is about twice the price. But right now I'm going to just use this one. And I used about 1/8 of a cup of that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub these seasonings into the meat. I'm not going to put it on the other side because it was enough for both sides, which is why I'm rubbing it in. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the fat side down into the crock pot. And I'm just going to pour the seasoning on top of the rest. Now, if I had marinated it, you would not pour the old marinade on top of it. But because I just seasoned it just now, I was able to pour the seasoning out the bowl onto the meat. So this is what it looks like before I put it into the actual cooking element. Okay, so now it's in the crock pot, and I'm just going to put the crock pot on low, and I'm going to let it cook for 4 to 5 hours, and we'll see how tender it comes out. So I have it on low.
An eternity later.
After about 1.5 hours of cooking, I'm just going to throw a couple of bay leaves in the slow cooker. So what I did after about 5 hours is I just took it out of the crock pot. It's nice and tender, and I put it in this pan, and I'm just going to let it cool. I'm going to let it cool overnight because it's for Sunday dinner, and I'm just going to put some foil over it, and then I'm going to put some of this Sticky Fingers Sweet Kentucky Bourbon barbecue sauce on it, and I'm just going to sit it in the oven for about 10 minutes so the barbecue sauce can get nice and bubbly and go all up into the meat.
The next day.
Okay, so the beef brisket sat in the refrigerator overnight, and now we're gonna put our barbecue sauce on it. I have this Sticky Fingers Sweet Kentucky Bourbon barbecue sauce, Smokehouse, and I'm just gonna pour some of this on top of the brisket. And I'm just going to spread it around the sides a little bit. And we're going to put it in the oven on about 325 just to let that barbecue sauce just really meld into the meat. And I'm going to put it in there probably for about 12 minutes. And here it is. Look how nice and, ooh, look at that sauce. I really can't wait to bite into this, honey. Is I'm going to let that sit for about 7 minutes, and then we're going to slice it. Okay, so now we're going to slice up this delicious brisket. I'm going to just use my electric knife because that's so much easier. Oops. So we're just going to slice it into thin slices. I'm gonna slice the whole entire thing because it's multiple people eating this. Now I'm gonna tell you how it tastes. Just have this little piece right here. And since I'm not my regular self looks wise, I'm just gonna make noises to let you know what I think. It is so tender. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Go buy yourself a brisket and cook it the way I cooked it. And y'all have a really nice night. I can't even stop eating. I'm gonna make me a plate.
I'm a OG boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my seat, boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my